I would like to thank Goota for accepting our invitation this evening to do this talk. We're so glad that you can all join us for this event. I would like to start by recognizing that La Guilde celebrates the cultural traditions and creative expressions of all Indigenous people of Canada and artists of fine craft. La Guilde is situated on unceded Indigenous land. The Kenyan-Gehaga Nation is recognized as the custodians of the lands and water of Jojage, historically known as a gathering place for many First Nations. La Guilde respects the past, present, and future connections with all Indigenous and diverse communities of Canada. My name is Marie-Hélène No. I am Education Coordinator at La Guilde, and I will be your host this evening. Before starting the conference, I would like to give a brief presentation of La Guilde for those who are not familiar with us. La Guilde is a non-profit organization that aims to preserve, promote, and increase awareness for Inuit art, First Nation art, and fine craft from Canada. La Guilde was founded in 1906 by two women from the English community of Montreal, Alice Peck and May Phillips. In 1949, La Guilde was the first organization to start the Inuit art market. Inuit art is a major part of our collection at La Guilde. La Guilde is a center of documentation as well as archives available for consultation. We organize temporary exhibitions and cultural activities related to our programming. And La Guilde also has an art gallery that brings together the work of established and emerging artists. For more information about La Guilde, about the works in its gallery available for acquisition, its temporary exhibition, and its activities, I invite you to consult our website, laguilde.com. La Guilde currently presents the exhibition Ashoona, Enduring Art Story, curated by Goota Ashoona. It presents the work of 23 artists from the Ashoona family, 4 generations of artists originally from Kingaite, Nunavut. It will be presented until July 3rd, so come see if you have not yet, because it's a beautiful exhibition. La Guilde also presents its permanent exhibition, Matériaux Trilogy, One Collection. You can find out more about our upcoming activities on La Guilde's Facebook and on our website. This evening, Goota Ashoona will present her biography and practice, as well as her passion for working with various media, including whalebone, for which she is well known. Daughter of renowned Inuit sculptor Goota Ashoona and granddaughter of graphic artist Pitsulak Ashoona, Goota has been a professional sculptor for over 30 years. She will explain the content of the exhibition Ashoona, Enduring Art Story, and the choices she made as a curator to highlight the work of the members of her family. The talk will end with a question period during which you can discover more about her practice. So I invite you to think about your question and to put them in the chat section below, not to forget them. Born in Kingaite and now based in Winnipeg, Goota Ashoona is a multidisciplinary artist who primarily carves in soapstone and whalebone. She is also produced wall hanging, small ornaments, and traditional Inuit dolls. Her sculptures reveal the strong influence of her father's style, kiwak, and delicate but detailed treatment of figurative subjects, most of which are women and children. Goota Ashoona is a representative and advocate for Inuit art abroad and has traveled extensively throughout North America, for her art practice with her husband, Bob Cussy. Her work is a part of many public collections, including the Winnipeg Art Gallery, the Haida Heritage Center, and the Canada Council Art Bank. Without further delay, I am glad to introduce artist and curator Goota Ashoona. Hello, Goota.
Hi, Marie. Hi, everyone. Goota Ashoona nguzunga, kami chazunga. Nang wakti chungalo. My name is Ashoona. I came from Cape Dorset, and I'm Inuit artist.
That's good. Thank you for your introduction. And you have a beautiful setting of Inuit art all around you. So if you want, Goota, I will start sharing the screen. So, oh. So I will share the screen for us to start the conference. Can you see well the presentation? Yes? All right. So here we go. What do we see here, Goota?
That was me at the first one with my jewelry making, and this one is my mother, picture of my mother, and I work with my parents. And because I work with them, I usually put and use them to my artwork and myself too. And there's my father and my mother with a bigger face over here, and there's on top, that's my father, and there's me on their hands, because we all worked together in the past, and I always use them to my artwork for as a memory.
Oh,
that's that's part of the bone. That's a whalebone, and the beluga bone is the small one. I usually put the base and the hanger. I mean, I put them together.
Yes, the base is in jade, right? And with this is I think sinew, which helps kind of show that your parents support you, isn't it, as a person and as an artist? So it seems.
Yes, that's a sinew. I braid it so it can be stronger to hold it like that. And I made that one when I was still living in Yellowknife.
It's a beautiful one.
Yeah, thank you. And this is a picture of my father when he was in Stratford, way before I think way before he had a kids, when he had a first wife before my mother, before he met my mother. And I think so. I think that's what the picture is. And he was there with my uncle my auntie's husband. He went there to work with Isivalupurugu, and he's holding the wars that he used to carve. And this is one of the pieces that I learned from his artwork.
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
And here's the carving that I carved when I came here to work with my father. And like I said, I always use my parents, both of my parents and my kids sometimes, or friends. And after we were working, I ended up making this one when after I was working with my father, and the stone came from Winnipeg, and it was really good to work with. And the picture is about my father carving his carving, and that's what it's called.
And he told you a trick, didn't he, about the way to start carving from, you said from the base and then up? Am I right?
Yes, he told me a couple times when I started working, or when he found out a little bit when I was struggling a little bit my working, and he told me to always start from the bottom. You make at the body moving, something like that when you're looking at. Always start from the bottom and go up when you're heading up, when you're imagining. And that's what I really took from my father. how to bring it out. He helped me a lot. And I ended up taking one of his, I didn't tell you about this, one of his file, because that's what I've seen when my father and my mother using the file after he was chipping it. And I took his file and put it onto the hands.
Oh my God, it's such an interesting insertion. You do like to use different material to put in a way in a work, right? We're gonna see that later. Yeah. Ah.
Yes. Here's my mother's drawing. My mother used to draw, and it's a future the bodies, and the drawing is amazing to me because I used to watch my mother, and also I used to work with my mother sometimes when she's trying to finish her drawing. Sometimes she would not color them, sometimes she would color them. And this is a drawing that I really adore too, because it really helps me when I try to carve. And when me and my mother used to work, it was amazing to watch her to bring out the artwork like this.
And I like the anecdote, Goota. When was it that you first realized your mother was an artist?
When I started going to school in kindergarten, and I remember when they used to take the kids to library, and it was fun sometimes. And my mom's drawings were at the library at school. I think I was 6 years old. Yeah, I was 6 years old, somewhere there. I was kind of late to go to school a bit because I was very shy and quiet. So only when I was ready to go to school, my parents put me to school because I was too shy and quiet back then. And when I saw my mom's drawing, it was amazing. It was like, wow. I was told that those are my mom's drawings, and it just blew my mind. That's what I remember. And I was like, wow, it was in a material, like a silk material, something like I'm wearing right now. And it was, I remember it was blue and white. I think it was only blue and white color. And it really, really touched me. And I thought, wow, my mom's drawing.
You must have been proud. And I like when you were telling me that you were influenced by your mother, and at first I was not understanding, but now when I see that piece, it's such a sculptural drawing, kind of. All the different characters, they really stand out like they were three-dimensional, and the mother and child is a theme that you like. So I understood better when I saw that drawing what you meant.
Exactly, right? Because this is how they used to dress back then. And what she remembers, she used to draw like hammocks on the little feet, and there's winter pants. It looks like shorties, and to me, because I didn't see those much when I was a little girl, because we were living in Cape Dorset, where I was born and raised. And these ones has a moutie on it with a baby on the back, and they're all moving forward. It's amazing, and that's what I like to carve too, like ladies with babies. This is my grandmother picture.
Titsula.
Yes. That's my grandmother, and I love make something out of my grandmother too, because she was an amazing grandmother. She was a loving person, and she was always drawing and sometimes tell the stories to us, some of us, and she would sometimes seat us on the floor and tell us a little bit of story and see who's going to listen, something like that. I think she was, that's what she was doing with me, Siasi and Annie Putugu, those girls, my auntie's daughter, Annie Putugu and Siasi Kennedy. Before she was married, her name was Goota Ashoona. And we all grew up together. We watched our grandmother, and we were told what if we're gonna end up being artists. And she would ask us sometimes, "What are you girls gonna do when you grow up?" Like, and she says, "If I were you girls, I would become an artist and probably move to down south." That's what she was like. Yeah.
You followed her advice.
Ask me. It's beautiful to bring it out. And this is what I made out of my grandmother's out of my grandmother's memory, her comics and her amauti. And when she takes us to the co-op, after she was drawing, one of us, sometimes we would be following her when she was going to sell her drawing, because there's going to be some groceries that we're going to have to carry back home because she was already elder and we had to help. And she would sometimes take or pick the kids to take with her, and sometimes it would be just me and my grandmother once in a while, or me and my mother or something like that. And it was fun to learn. Well, I didn't know that I was learning, but today and sometimes when I work, it really puts me into their art world in the past.
And this is the back of it. And the photo was taken by Liane Marcoleta Parfer, right? You decided to create a huge, a very interesting photo of it.
Yes, that's we got that made here. It's because I couldn't take the doll to legal when I went to have my Ashoona show to do. Can you help me a little bit to say it, Marie?
Oh, you mean the name of the photographer?
What I went to do the show in Montreal.
Oh, Ashoona Enduring Art Stories?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's why I like about having friends who can help me out. So this is my grandmother, and it's really important to me, and I hope it's important to the people too, because she was an artist, and I'm bringing her dream come true. I'm
Wasn't
one of
there a
the
quote, Goota, that you had a quote from Pitsulak that you told me last time? From Pitsulak.
A what?
A quote, something she wrote in her book, right?
The book, yeah, that it's part of why I end up using her drawings to bring them out. For example, it's not just for me to use it. It's like for, because my grandmother was taking care of a lot of kids, her kids and her grandkids, and they all learn how to make art because of her kids, and they ended up being carvers and print makers, and they draw. Like my sister Subina is really good at it too, and some of them has passed away who was really good at it too, and some grandkids of hers that are carving and they're moving forward, which is really good. And like I said, she was amazing woman to bring us up to be artists.
Yes, I was thinking of the quote, I will continue to do art even after I'm dead. So it's
That
kind of,
one, yeah, thank you so much. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you. That one I used because her book, that book that she got it, it's called A Picture Out of My Life. The quote on the end is very strong for me, when she said something like, um, I'm gonna keep making art even after I die. And that's very strong for me to understand it. So I'm her granddaughter, and because she was so loving and very good artist, I just wanted to keep it going. I wanted to keep it alive the way she wanted to. It's I wanted a dream come true for her too, because she was very loving and she was a very good artist, and it was amazing to watch her. Yes, those are the, I try anything to make art, because like I said, a grandma was strong enough to make art, and I thought I have to keep it going because it's really nice. These are the earrings out of caribou antler, and I made the throat singers on it, and I love making those too. Well, I love making pretty much anything, just like probably anybody out there, and some people who are artists is trying to make more art in different ways, and I'm one of them. So I love making these ones. I love making art in a lot of different ways. That's the carving a whalebone. I start carving it a little bit here and there when I was living in Haida, Hawaii. I lived in Haida, Hawaii for a bit. After I was living in Yellowknife, I was keep moving. And this is, like I said, I love making um, my parents. And this is what it was about my parents. So sometimes I let go some the family stories, and this is about my father and my mother because they worked hard in the past, and I keep it. I put it into my artwork. That's my father and my mother after they have passed away, both of them. They were both separated too with medical, and I had to take care of my mom, and I was kind of suffering because losing mom is hard, or losing parents or anybody or kids. And I thought to put it into artwork, and I did that. I made this one, and I tried to make the bones, this bone together. Try not to make it broken anywhere, and try to put it together. It was more uplifting for my heart feelings because it's about my parents. And she has her little purse is sealskin because that's how people lived back then. And my father's carrying a kid because they have so many kids when they go for a walk sometimes, and that lady is carrying a baby, and they're both going fishing. And this man is holding a fishing spear, and that's what I learned watching my parents, what they have in their hands sometimes. And I love it. It came out really, really well, I think.
I think so
And it
too.
feels good when I finish.
You could hardly tell from the first photo that it would end up like this, but the details are truly beautiful. And you did also the bag and all the detail. So I like that you do everything.
Thank you. Thank you. This is one of the, that's a nice picture. One of the big bone, another bowhead whale that we got from Haida. Most of them came from there too because we have friends there, and I ended up making a mermaid because that's what I love making too, because my grandma told me the story, or my parents, and I kind of challenged myself to put them together in a different ways. What I see on TV in the past, or what I hear the story from the past, and I kind of challenged myself to try to put them together to the bone, or pretty much anything. And there's a mermaid, and there's another kid here, and there's another the mask on the back of that, because I like making faces too. And I love making owls. And there's a polar bear because when I was living in outpost camp, when we were living in the camp, there used to be some polar bears a lot, and it was kind of scary sometimes when I want to go outside. And I've seen them really close, even in front of my mother. I had to shoot one, and instead of being scary, it's kind of like happy, because that's what I wanted to put into my artwork, to let go a bit too. And there's a mermaid's tail also.
And for the teeth, Goota, I know that you used, oh my God, there's so many things in there. Beluga's teeth from the Arctic, and there are also sea lion teeth from Haida. So many different insertion you made in it.
Yes, I like doing that too, putting it into my artwork, like the eyeballs. And sometimes I have to get my husband to help me. Those are the eyeballs from muskox swans, and sometimes I use little beads, and there's a rock. I think it's what did I make? Alabaster eyeball. I cut it first before I start cutting the eyeball, and that's what I put in there. And those teeth in the mouth, the mask, are from the beach that I have picked up. And some of them are fish, some of them are beluga teeth from up north, or Nunavut. And I like putting something into my artwork like that, because it to me it shows a little bit more when I put something like that to the eyeball or the mouth, or yeah.
It shows all your traveling, all the places where you stayed.
Sorry again?
I said it shows all your traveling, how you stayed in Haida and then in the Arctic. You can see that all in your sculpture.
Yes, exactly. It's moving, just like I did. And like my parents were moving or traveling too, and my grandmother sometimes. Yeah. And they both didn't really know how to speak English. I'm still learning, but I'm here with some friends who helps me, like you, Marie, and I'm very thankful for that. So I have worked with so many people in the past, and it started with my parents and my grandmother, and then I worked with some people when I was still living in Yellowknife, and even my son, Joe Ashoona, he was hardworking young man since he was really young. He was amazing to watch too, because he kept making polar bears in a different kind of stone, and he tries to keep different kind of stone, and it was amazing to watch him. And these are some of his, well, most of his polar bear that he made when we were still living in Haida Gwaii after he moved in with us, and my artworks right there. And yeah, he was amazing. And he still is. That's his polar bear, and that's a finger bone from the not the beluga, bowhead whale. Did I say bowhead whale? Bowhead, a finger bone, like we have finger, and this is like it's longer than my arm, and it's amazing to see it. It's really moving, and I can see it's moving. It is. It's fun to see my artwork sometimes that I have forgotten. Sometimes I didn't forget about these ones because I was working on those when I was still living in Yellowknife. And the other one is a shoulder blade. It's at the art gallery here in Winnipeg. And it was a challenge for me, that shoulder blade, because it's flat more than this the backbone, and that was a kind of challenge for me to try to put it there after I've seen what's in the ocean. And like I said, I love making mermaids, so that's there too. And there's my father telling stories about the animals on the finger here. Do you see, if you can see it? It's right there. And yeah,
It's a fun detail.
Yeah, it is.
It's like he's talking, and everything that he's talking is illustrated there. It's really interesting.
Yes, and the backbone here. Me and my father used to go walrus hunting, and sometimes it was really hard because I was just a girl. I think I was somewhere 12 years old, and we kept going hunting sometimes, and to see animals out there that I really never seen was amazing. So I put them also sometimes into art. And that's a mask under Walrus, story about Walrus. That's a nice bone that we worked on. I worked on in Haida Gwaii, and it was kind of a challenge to. So I worked with my husband to put it like that, and because he likes making boats too, and I love making faces. That's where I put the faces, and we worked together a lot in the past, just like my parents did. They worked a lot together. I watched them working, and that's how I learned. And this is what I made when me and Bobby put them together. And sometimes we used a coat hanger when we always look for something to put what we can use into our art to make it alive. And this is part of it.
And there was
those little
collaboration.
faces I made. Pardon me. And there's a polar bear hair on the edge of the.
And there's a collaboration that you did also, I see, with the guy Sharky, isn't it?
Yes, that's the guy who came to work with us too, Guy Sharky from Haida or BC. And he came over to work with us sometimes, and he was really fun to work with, like the other guys that I have worked with. And he put that drawing there, and there's another couple of them he worked on. He helped us to put it together like that, and he helped my grandson when my grandson was to stay with us because he loves working, and he made a drum, and Guy Sharky ended up putting a nice drawing into my grandson's drum. But he was going to paint it. It never happened because he ended up doing something, or he couldn't come back to had a sandspit where I was living.
And what about this one?
That's another backbone that I really like. Before I carved it, I really liked it, so I kept looking at it, and when I'm ready, I'm gonna put something in there. I'm just gonna keep looking at it, and that's what I did. And I'm gonna try not to waste any of it when I'm carving, and I worked on it. I ended up working on it, and I put owl in front because I love making those two. I thought the owl is a good luck, or pretty much anything, and I think it is. But to me, I kind of never really used to like putting animals into art. But later on, after I heard the story about owl, I ended up making that one because I heard that it's a good luck, and it felt like it was. And there's another, there's a fish on the bottom too, because there was lots of birds that I see over there, and I thought I'm gonna try to put something behind that back and not waste any of it and bring it out to what I see. So those bird over there that I saw sometimes was mostly eagle, called not wali to do that my father used to carve, but I thought to put something different called I don't know how to say this one in what is it in English again? With those big beads. I think there's some here too in Manitoba, that when it has a big mouth when they're open. And I thought to put one because they like to catch fish.
It's fun. It's fun here. You have the subject matter again, because before it was in the material you use that you see the combination of different places where you are. But here it's the same with the sculpture and the subject. You have one that you saw in Sandspit and the owl from the north.
Yes, exactly. Owl from the north has I was trying to make a mouse for the owl because that's what they like to eat, right? Into the feet. And I think I have a little mouse that is trying to, that I was trying to catch it. And there's the fish that this bird catch. This is what my grandmother's drawing. It's a medal. We got it made when we were still living in Yellowknife also. And like I said, I like keep making something that has my grandmother or my parents made. Sometimes I just want to bring them out because they work so hard, like I keep saying, and they have to be, I think they have to live, I mean, their artwork has to live, like my grandmother said in her story, you know?
So it keeps them alive.
I'm going to keep making, she said, I'm going to keep making art even after I die. She's, to keep it alive is makes me have goosebumps sometimes, or my heart fills it up. It makes me feel proud of myself that I keep making it alive. And it's not just for me, it's sometimes to help other people. Like we used to give donations sometimes, and if somebody asks for those for the hospital or the children's, and that's what I like doing. So I keep it going because I have learned so much from my parents and my father, how he told me that I should do this or help or give. And this is one of the carving that I did because I had a dream, and sometimes the dream has to come out. And when somebody asked me to give, and this is this is a big carving that I made in Haumazo. And when Stephen asked me if I want to do big carving, I thought, yes, it has to. I thought it has to. I have to make one, even, yeah.
And that's a small one, huh? This one in front of the Homajo. Wow,
It was really small when I got it. When I cut it, I ended up cutting a small styrofoam because what I have learned back then, that there's going to be the big machines in the future. What my husband and my parents were talking about was like, I wonder, maybe that might happen in the future, like maybe in my grandkids' time or great-great-grandkids' time. And I thought, when I came here and someone asked me, and my husband he already know how to get it done to help me with my dream, and it worked out. It always seems to work out if I ask, or if somebody asks me to do with art, to bring it out for to help, or to bring it out to make it happen, right? Yes. And yeah, this is a nice legal, at legal, and yeah, I think you want to ask me question.
Yeah, sure. We have 2 minutes maybe to talk a bit about the exhibition, and then we're gonna take questions from everyone. Yes, like Gil asked you to be the curator of this exhibition, and we collaborated with Chris Gismondi also as assistant curator, and with like Gil's team, Geneviève, Duval, and me, and we work everyone very hard. But you collaborated a lot by including text that you wrote about your family, and you also provided all the photos that we see here in the Stratford Festival you were talking about with your father earlier. So I want to know, Goota, what was it like to be a curator for the first time?
To be a curator, it was amazing. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of mixed feeling for me because I never done this before. This is the first time I did to be a curator, and it was a lot of fun. It was amazing. Some days I was worried that I wonder how it's gonna work out. I wonder what is like to be curator. But with you guys' help, it worked out really well. I'm very thankful for that because my dream came true. And when you asked me, I didn't even think not to say no or yeah, like I just wanted to. I had to say yes because the hard time came around that time to write to do with pandemic, and it was hard, and I watched it was getting kind of, to me, hard to watch people who's having a hard time out there. I thought it's not the time to be or a quitter, or it's not the time to be slow down, whatever, kind of like those things. And
No.
it was amazing. I was amazed. I think it went well.
Yeah, you see your work
because,
right there.
Yeah, there's my work. Some of my work, I had to bring them through with some friends. The friends who has my carvings, and there's my brother's carving, Goota Ashoona from Cape Dorset, and he is the one who ended up being a little brother to me. I had a brother who was pretty much the same as me, but he wasn't carving. He was in Chia, and he lived with us until later on he passed away. And my little brother was adopted to my parents when we were still living. He learned how to do pretty much to be Inuit man in Cape Dorset and outside of Cape Dorset. We moved to a postcard when he was only probably 4 years old, I think 5, and he learned how to carve watching my father, and he also worked with me and my parents. He really backed us up too, and he's really nice. He worked so hard. He brought lots of country food from the camp to Cape Dorset, even though that he was just a little kid. I couldn't do that, but he did it, and he carved, and he still works with the people at Co-op, I think, in Dorset, and I'm proud of him being moving forward, and I hope he does well.
And many more people in the exhibition that you felt really close to. So I will just show a bit of the views of the exhibition before we go to the question period, because time is going by very fast. So this is what the exhibition look like, and this is the front window in which we can see many of the work that Goota chose in the exhibition. And I think we will stop there because we want to have time for people to ask few questions to you, Goota. So in the chat below, if you want to ask some questions to Goota, I will read them to her really gladly. And if you don't have questions coming up this fast, then I can definitely, I have a lot of questions for you. So I can ask. But Goota, what was the most challenging part of being a curator? What was the hardest part in it? Am I asking you a hard question?
Excuse me. That's a hard question. Honestly, kind of to be there. A little bit hardest part was what was the hardest part? I don't think pretty much anything. Because I haven't read Inutitu a long time. A little bit that was kind of hard for me when I was reading that Inuktitut reading in my Inuktitut syllabus, where I learned how to do that. Luckily, I read it and it went well. But hardest part was I was kind of tired sometimes. That's the only hardest part that I felt. Everything went well. I was very happy. I wish to do that again.
So
maybe in a different way.
So
be walking down the street, coming back and forth too much. That was the only hardest part for me because I haven't walked too. It was a good exercise for me because I was always in the house to do with cold winter here. So I had fun. I don't think there was anything hard.
In the end, it turned out well. So it means that you're gonna do other exhibitions in the coming years. Is it what it means?
If I'm okay, I would do it again even to help other people if they want to do this. Maybe I want to be doing this again or help other people if I can.
Yes, there is a comment that I received saying from I am grateful that the Ashoona family tree was included in the exhibition. You included artworks made by so many different members of a big family. Yeah, that family tree was tricky, huh? It was a big family tree. Chris Gismondi helped a lot with that one. And oh, I have another question here. Goota, family and friends are reoccurring theme in your work. Can you share with us any favorite memory or story you have with your mom, dad, or grandma?
I want to share what I learned from my grandmother. Because when you get older, sometimes you kind of forget. That's about myself. My grandmother was amazing. She brought me up to Inuit artists, even though that I didn't really go to school in English. But it helped me to bring myself to be artist and how to bring myself out there with my grandmother's help, I believe. And my mother was too. She was a strong woman who was working hard for her kids to support us when we were studying in Cape Dorset. And honestly, she really was a strong woman. Those two women were really strong women. If we don't have those kind back then, I don't think we would have survived.
Mm.
I mean, my grandma, to think about her, that she's a survivor, to look at it today, like
She
my
truly
son
was.
Joe, before I went to legal, he told me, yeah, remember, Mom, how your grandma was living. She survived in a winter, living in igloo, growing up, that she didn't have in anywhere. And it really woke me up. So, yeah.
No, you have.
It's amazing to think about it. That's why I'm here. Because,
It's hard to choose one memory from your grandmother. It's hard to choose just one memory. I have some more questions. So if it's all right with everyone, I will ask 2 more questions and then I will let everyone go. So I want to ask, it is delightful to hear from you and to know more about your work. I am the head of Canada Council Art Bank, and we were delighted to lend your artwork to the exhibition, Goota. I'd like to know, what is your favorite medium to work in?
The material, I used to like the stone, because I didn't know the bone back then. I like working on the caribou antler or either beluga bone.
Okay.
Bone. Oh. To work on it, because to think about the people back then who used to work on the carvings, and to know that some people end up having lung cancer. I don't know if it's to do with the soapstone, right? For example, even my mother, she passed away from the lung cancer. I don't know if it's to do with the dust, because they didn't use masks too, and it was a lot of dust too, to inhale it, right? So I like them both, but I would choose the bone to work with the bone because it's dropping down, and yeah.
Okay, good. Could you tell us a bit about the lovely dynamic large work outside at Winnipeg Art Gallery?
Yes, I will tell you the big carving that I made. It's the like I said, I love making faces or the mask in the past, and that was my chance to learn to myself, because I watch people how they were carving, like my parents or other second generations or third, whatever. Challenged myself to make faces because I knew it was hard, and I love making mask, and I love making the mermaid and the owls. Or yeah, I thought to put that together from my own work in the past, and put some stories that I heard from my auntie Napachiputuku, my father, a little bit of history, and my mother is ended on top of the carving. I used her face to put it on top because I really wanted to put them together.
Oh, wow.
And that's what it's mostly about. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's great. I didn't know how complex this, but I mean, there are many facets to this gigantic sculpture. It's really beautiful. Congratulations on it. Congratulations. I wish to see it in person someday. And so now it's going to be our last question.
Yes. And I hope you see it. I hope you miss.
Yes. And thank you so much,
I'm
Goota,
here.
for coming to this beautiful talk today. Thank you for all the generous time that you gave us. Thank you everyone for participating in this beautiful event. And I will send you a form tomorrow so that you can let us know about your feedback, how you enjoyed the presentation. And I want to say just a little thank you again to everyone. And thank you so much, Goota, for your help. You are amazing. Thank you again.
That was so nice, Marie. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope everybody had fun.